can't believe I forgot it at home again. What's going on? It's Samantha from Lone Crow Adventures, the channel where we talk about all things camping, hiking, and backpacking. And today we're going to talk about the 10 most frequently forgotten items on a camping trip. Let's go. So the first thing a lot of people forget to pack when they go camping is garbage bags. Yeah, that's right. You don't think about it, but when you get to the campsite, there are going to be many things that you have that you're going to want to throw away that are not burnable, like soda cans, any kind of glass bottles, any kind of other can that is, like a can of beans or anything like that. And a lot of times, I don't personally like to burn plastic in the fire pit because it makes the food that I'm going to cook on the fire taste gross and it smells bad. I don't want to add extra nasty chemicals to my food. No, thank you. So if you bring some garbage bags, then you'll have a receptacle right on site. You can put your trash in there. And this way, at the end of the night, you take all that food waste or any other waste products that you have over to the main dump area in the campground to dispose of them. And if you're camping and you get there and you realize, oh geez, I don't have any trash bags. One of the things you could do is go to the camp office, because they usually have some that you could purchase, and if they don't, very oftentimes they'll hook you up with 1 or 2 garbage bags, because they'd rather give you some garbage bags than have you scatter your litter all over the campsite and burn things that are not really burnable. The next thing that a lot of people forget when they go camping is some type of fire starting method, whether it's a lighter, a pack of matches, a ferro rod. You don't want to get to the campground and realize, whoops. So what I generally do is in my cook kit, where I keep, my pots, my pans, my plates, and silverware, that kind of stuff. I generally keep either a barbecue lighter or a pack. Sometimes I keep both, a barbecue lighter and a pack of waterproof matches. And this way I always have a way to start a fire when I go camping. Even better than matches is something that's called a Yuko Sweet Fire. It's basically some compressed cardboard that has a strikeable end. It's designed to be used like a match, but it has a tip on it that'll burn for 8 minutes. And this is great if the conditions are a little damp or if you're not an expert fire builder. It really helps you to get fires going in kind of tricky situations. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check those out. Third thing that a lot of people forget when they go camping is a can opener. I can't even tell you how many times I've forgotten a can opener. A lot of times, a lot of the canned goods that I buy and use at home, many of them have pull tabs. But every once in a while, you'll come across something where it doesn't. Now, I generally, as part of my everyday carry, I carry a Swiss Army knife. And if you carry one of these, you will have a can opener on your Swiss Army knife that you can use to get into the canned goods at the campsite. But in the event that you don't, it's a good idea to go to the dollar store and buy a can opener. And you could do the same thing as you do with the matches, where you store that right inside of your cook kit. And this way, if you have some canned goods that don't have a full pull tab on them, you can go ahead and open them up and you're not going hungry for the night. The next thing a lot of people forget when they go camping, again, this is related to the fire and the cooking once more, but it is either a rag or some type of a oven glove or oven mitt to be able to take a hot pan off of the fire. So what I actually bought for my cook kit is the oven glove. And of course, this is the old oven glove from the infomercials on TV, where you see people grabbing logs with it that are on fire and stuff like that. And I can honestly say the oven glove works great. I've used it with cast iron many times and I've never gotten burned. But even having a good thick cotton towel or something works great. Don't get something that's a synthetic material. Polyester, nylon, those kind of materials, they tend to melt under high heat. and then they'll stick to your hand because they're plastic based, then you really have a problem. So try to go with something that's either cotton or wool. Those are your best bets when it comes to some kind of a device for heat protection. One thing that a lot of people forget when they go camping is to bring sunscreen and bug spray. This time of year, you don't need to worry about it quite so much. Although if you take a look at the trees, you'll notice there is no leaf cover and it's a very clear day. So I can't get out of the sun even if I wanted to. There is literally no shade out here unless I wanted to find something that's behind a hillside. That would be the only source of shade. So you can still get sunburnt even in the early spring or late in the fall. But definitely, I can't count the number of times that I've gone camping or I've been at the campground, I've witnessed other campers searching rapidly through their vehicle for a can of DEET or some bug spray to keep the mosquitoes away, and they can't find it. Another great option, if you don't like to put bug spray on your skin, is that you can use either a citronella coil, a citronella candle, or what I like to use the best is a thermocell. And they make a couple different options. They make one that has a USB-C charge and it has these little liquid cartridges, or they make one with the little butane cartridges. I prefer the one with the butane, just like the classic thermocell MR300, I believe is what it's called. And it'll put off a radius of 20 feet around the device. As long as you're not moving around, this will work if you're stationary, and it definitely keeps the mosquitoes at bay. I have used the Thermacell products for years, and I really love them. And then in terms of bug spray, I generally use a Deep Woods Off, or sometimes if I find the Deep Woods Off isn't working for some reason, then I'll switch to a Picardin, which I find that smells a little bit like movie theater popcorn butter, so that's a little bit strange, but that does seem to work, at least for my body chemistry. Sarah doesn't like the Picardin at all. She finds that it doesn't work at all. But definitely don't forget to pack the bug protection. Even early this time of year, the mosquitoes aren't really an issue, but the ticks are going to be coming out at any minute, and a good rule of thumb when you're hiking is to spray from the knees down, to make sure that if you're walking through long grass or anything, that if any ticks get on you, that DEET's gonna repel them right off so that they don't detach and give you Lyme disease or even worse. See, we've got quite a bit of snow here. This is actually a cross-country trail. The next thing a lot of people forget is to bring a flashlight or a headlamp, and to make sure that everyone in your camping party has their own light source. If you don't bring something to be able to see after dark, then you're going to be that person that's running their car headlights while they're trying to find things in the tent, and you're going to pretty much make some enemies pretty quick at the campground. And just because you remember your flashlight, just remember your kids are probably not going to remember to pack theirs. So make sure that you pack some extra flashlights for the kids. Make sure everybody's got their headlamp if you choose to use headlamps, and also make sure you have some extra batteries. At the beginning of the video, I said that you've got your tent, you've got your sleeping bag, you've got your sleeping pad. But did you remember to bring the pump to fill up the sleeping pad? That's the next thing that a lot of people forget to bring. And a lot of sleeping mats can be inflated by mouth. It's generally not recommended because the air that's coming out of your mouth is warmer than the surrounding air, and it also has a lot more humidity, so it's going to introduce moisture into that mat and ultimately could lead to a reduced longevity of that mat. When you fill your sleeping pad with your breath, it's nice and full and super comfortable, and then a couple hours later when you go to lay on it, the breath that you blew in there has cooled down and the tension on the mat, the overall air pressure on the mat has reduced. Then you have to blow it up again before you go to bed. Then once that air cools down, the same thing happens again. Now there are some air pads where, if you've got one of those big Intex double queen air mattresses, or one of those Coleman ones, that you get at Walmart, those real cheap ones, the size of the whole bed, you'll spend your whole camping trip trying to blow that puppy up by mouth. So definitely try to keep your pump with your sleeping pad when you're storing it at home, so this way when you dig it out of the storage to throw it in the back of the car, you'll be in good shape. Another thing you don't want to forget is your chair. And sometimes, I've forgotten this quite a few times, And you'll get out to the campsite, and sure, there's a picnic table. That's fine and dandy. You can go ahead and use that. But it's not real comfortable to sit on a picnic table for the entire evening around a campfire. And sometimes you can't get the picnic table close enough to the campfire because in a lot of places, for some reason, people like to steal picnic tables or something because they'll have them chained to a cement pad or chained to a tree so that you can really only move them a few feet. So you might get stuck sitting on a log, if you can find one, sitting on the ground, sitting on the tailgate of your truck, or sitting on an uncomfortable picnic table. And because I store my chairs in my garage and my camping gear in my basement, because I use the chairs a lot, if the kids are going to go play baseball or, we're going to a family function, a picnic or something. So I use the chairs a lot outside of just camping. I've forgotten those so many times. So what I do is I actually have a second set of chairs that I store in the camping room with my camping gear, because that's just something that I seem to consistently forget. I don't have a good track record with it. So that's how I kind of got around that. Or a lot of times Sarah will remember to pack them. She's real good at packing for trips. What about a pillow? Did you remember that? Yeah, that's something a lot of people forget. They got their sleeping bag, their sleeping pad, but they don't have anything to rest their head on. So they end up folding up a jacket or rolling up a sweater, using that. I have a dedicated camp pillow that I use. If I need it to be a little more portable, I'll use an air one. But the one I really like is the Wise Owl compressible pillow. I think I use 2 of them. Yeah, I use 2 when I'm car camping. I like to have a lot of neck support. I like to keep a good space between my head and my shoulder. And it's a small enough pillow to make it pack down easy, but a big enough pillow that it really supports my head nicely and I can get a good night's sleep on it. I'll put links in the description below about that, if they still sell it. I don't even know if they still sell it. Let's talk about toiletries. This is something a lot of people forget to pack, especially if you're new to camping. They'll think, oh, they got toilet paper at the pit toilet, which they generally do. But if it's a Friday or Saturday night, that toilet paper could be completely run out by 9 o'clock. So it's always a good idea to pack some toilet paper, keep it in your car. I like to keep a roll in the tent at night. That way I've got it right there if I have to get up in the middle of the night and go do my business. Also, the stuff at the pit toilet is generally a 1-ply. And I don't know, that stuff will work in an emergency. It's a little better than leaves, but not by much. But the other thing people don't often think about is hand sanitizer. Because pit toilets don't have any running water, so there's no soap. There's no way to wash your hands after you go number 2. You definitely need to sanitize after doing that. So packing a little bit of sanitizer, keeping that either in your car. I've got sanitizer right in my car, but even just a little bottle, you can keep it inside your tent, keep it inside your cook kit. You can also pack some hand soap in there too. That way you can wash your hands if they do happen to get soil, especially if you're going to be doing any meal preparation. You're going to be dealing with any raw meat that you have to touch. It's always good to be able to have a way to wash your hands. And then also, you're going to want to bring some dish soap and a dish rag so that you can wash your dishes. Because if you don't have any soap, you're just going to have nasty dishes. And if you're using just a frying pan, like a cast iron, you can generally just heat some water up in there and whirl it around. It'll kind of clean itself with a little scraping. You're not supposed to use soap on cast iron. But if you have anything else, not a bad idea to bring some dish soap and a dishcloth so you can wash and scrub. Maybe even a towel to have a way to dry things. Let me know what the most common thing is that you forget when you go camping. And if you're looking for a great way to be able to wash your dishes, I'm going to link it up right here. We'll see you over on that one.